Welcome to Mainland Television Regional News. I'm Graham O'Brien and today's news: get into speed on Saturday, mud on Sunday and much more. It's annual Trolley Derby time again, fun for the family with all the thrills and spills that the Derby has become famous for. Races start at 11 AM going through to prize giving at 4 PM. We sent Leonard along to find out more from committee member Gordon Dacom.
The annual Trolley Derby is on again. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Well, it's been going for a few years, since the 60s, with a bit of a break, but we've been having it every year for the past few years, and it's on the 14th of March this year again in Collingwood Street, so we're really looking forward to that.
So, could you tell us a bit about some of the categories?
We have different age group categories. I don't remember exactly where the cut-off is, but we have littlies and in-betweenies and teenagers and then the adults category, so covers quite a lot of age groups right through, basically from about 4 or 5 years upwards.
I've heard there were a few new ones introduced this year.
Yeah, there's a couple of new categories. We introduced the Corporate Challenge last year, which is trolleys all made with the same design, but sponsored by the local businesses, and that's very close racing. And then we have another new category, which is the classic trolleys. So that's some of the older trolleys from way back, and there's a few of those around that come out, and plus the ones that look like classic cars and actually represent a particular make of car, like a Bentley or something like that. And there's they've always been quite popular, but they've raced in amongst the other trolleys, and of course they're not quite as competitive, so we figure we should have a different category for those.
So what are some of the prizes people can win?
Well, you get a plastic medal. No, it's just the kudos on the day. There's no prize money or anything like that, but there's usually a prize pack donated by some of our sponsors with some of their goods, McDonald's vouchers and backpacks and various other bits and pieces that go into those packs. So, yeah.
There's also a prize for the best design. What's the most memorable design you've ever seen?
Well, a few years ago we had some guys decide that they were going to build a Flintstone trolley, and but they didn't really get it very good, and it was a very poor design, and it ended up collapsing not even halfway down the trolley, and they had to pick up down the track, and they had to pick up all the bits and pieces off the track, so it completely collapsed on top of them. So that was quite memorable from my point of view, because it was quite hilarious.
Thank you very much, Gordon. We're looking forward to the Trolley Derby on Saturday.
Yep, so are we. It's always great fun, and it looks like the weather's going to be right for us this year, and so on. So we've got a full muster of trolleys and a full day of racing from about 9:30, 10 o'clock onwards, right through to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So get along and support all the teams and organisers that have put in such a big effort to make this day happen. Following up on our story about Nelson's young up-and-coming skaters heading off to the Australasian competitions, we found a somewhat different story than was first reported. Here is Coach Alan Bartlett to give us the details.
Last time we interviewed you, you were quite excited for the Oceania speed skating competition, but something went wrong. What happened?
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate, but the Australian section of the competition decided not to put forward too many skaters, so it started to make it uneconomic for the New Zealand people to enter and travel over there to compete. Yeah, so that basically meant that decisions were made to not carry on with that competition this year, which was very unfortunate.
Everything just dropped, basically, no?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened, and it was disappointing for us because Nelson hasn't had a representative in that level for some time, and it was really good that Zahn was able to be involved in that team. However, she's quite young and she's got a lot of opportunities ahead of her for more competition internationally, so we're looking forward to that now rather than looking back. Yeah.
So on Saturday you're doing an event at the Trolley Derby. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. Part of the tour that the Nelson Club has organised, we are involved with an uphill race up the Collingwood Street where the Trolley Derby is being held, and we're going to be doing that around about 1 o'clock, I think, on Saturday afternoon. Okay, so the Top of the South speed skating tour that's being run over the weekend consists of 6 stages and a number of races taking place in each stage. We have we'll be starting on the Saturday morning at the new boulevard by the Maitai River and doing some sprint races, two-man sprint races. We then head up to the Collingwood Street and do our uphill climb. We will then be heading out to Saxton's Field, where we have a track we create on the car parking area, and then some of the road system as well. So that's several of the stages. On Sunday we head over to Blenheim and we are doing some racing at the go-kart track in Blenheim, and after that we go to their bank track and finish off the racing at the bank track. So it's quite an involved session that we have for all the skaters. We've got approximately 30 skaters coming from out of Nelson, and we have about 10 skaters of our own competing. So it's going to be quite a major event. Some of those skaters have competed at World Championships, and a number of them have competed in the Oceania Championships in the past. So we've got some quite competent and very proficient skaters taking part in our competition, which is fantastic.
So it would seem that the Aussies' loss is our gain, and it all just adds to the excitement and community involvement on Saturday the 14th, now a double race day. This weekend is the annual Muddy Buddy event fundraiser for Tasman School. This Sport Tasman Adventure Fun Run has been under the microscope of Council after a few complaints about possible damage to the estuary ecosystem. However, now the red tape has been sorted out, the event is back up and being capped at 1,400 people. Chrissy Small went and spoke to Tasman School Principal Pip Wells about this weekend's Muddy Buddy event.
Pip Wells, Muddy Buddies, Tasman School, of course. This is a fundraiser for Tasman School, and you're the wonderful headmistress. Tell me, when is it and what is planned?
Okay, so Muddy Buddies is our major fundraising event, so that's the thing that gets to drive all those extra things for our school, so it's pretty important. And as many of your watchers will know, it's a huge adventure in the mud outside of our school. It's this Sunday, which is the 15th of March, and people need to be here between 9:30 and 10:30, and the race starts at 11.
Right, now Pip, in previous years you've had all kinds of groups and individuals enter the competition. I've seen some fabulous sights. I mean, they start off looking very elegant, and by the end of the run they look dreadful, but all in good fun. Tell me, how many people have you got entered so far for this well, it's a competition in a sense because there is a winner.
Yeah, there are a number of winners. Well, every person's a winner, I guess, on one level.
Yeah.
We're not sure how many. I actually haven't had an update recently, but we are hoping that everybody is registering online this year, because as part of our process in gaining consent for this event, we've got a cap of 1,400. Now, we had 1,400 last year and we only had a 2-week lead up, so we're expecting that there'll be a bit of pressure on those numbers.
Gosh, it is a popular event. Now, how many staff are entering it?
Good question. I actually haven't asked that hard question yet. I know that absolutely everybody, not just staff, but all the families that are in our Tasman area are hot on the ground for that day. So they're busy. If they're not actually entering, they'll be providing food, they'll be part of the team that's actually putting it all together. Right. So it's a huge community effort for us. We're a little community and it's all hands on deck. Yeah,
but it obviously is a popular event for people on their calendars this year. It's going to be a fabulous year. We've had a bit of a drought, but let's hope there's a bit of rain, and that'll really add some excitement to this.
Add more mud to the event. Yeah. Well, whether it's rain or shine, it'll definitely be on, and as you say, a bit of rain would only add to it.
So with 1,500 people, that would give you a kind of a figure of the money that you'll be making from this event. Any ideas what it's going to be spent on yet? Is it pre-spent, or is that something to be decided?
Each year the board consult with the parent community and with the fundraising group to see what the key priorities are. We've done a lot of work in the playground and sort of supporting our kids to be active with last year's fundraising money. We've still got a bit of work to do to finish that off, and a bit of the money is ongoing in terms of it being put towards physical activity opportunities our kids wouldn't otherwise get. But hopefully there's a little bit left to use with whatever this year's priorities become.
Right. In past years, what kind of things have the money gone to?
Right. For the past couple of events, it's gone to fundraise a huge upgrade of our playground area, so adventure activities in the playground, both in terms of things like maypoles and climbing frames and that sort of thing, and also in giving a whole range of equipment for physical activity like gymnastics mats, play pod for creative play. So that's been our huge push for the last couple of years.
Right. Now, swimming pool. I know this seems to be a contention all around schools in New Zealand. There's never enough money for a swimming pool. You have a swimming pool here. Is it in use?
Absolutely. Our swimming pool would probably be the smallest in the region, I think it would be fair to say. So it would only go up to any reasonable adult's thighs, probably. It's great for our juniors, for our babies learning to swim and getting that swimming confidence. But it may be that we need to look further in terms of extending that for our seniors.
Yeah. Well, Pip Wells, I wish you the best for the event. It's an exciting time for the school, and it's a really cohesive time for the families and the school to bring it on together to have a great day for anyone that obviously wants to get a bit muddy.
Absolutely. We're part of a pretty amazing community here.
Yeah.
And this is just an opportunity for us to share some of the fun that we have with the greater Nelson, Matarita area.
Yeah.
So we look forward to a great day.
Great.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Following the storm last weekend, all water restrictions in Tasman District for both water permit holders and urban consumers have been lifted with immediate effect. The recent rain was of sufficient quantity to provide good recharge to the aquifers, and flows in rivers and streams are again generally healthy, says Council. Golden Bay received the most rain with 136 millimetres on Takaka Hill, the Rewalker received about 70 millimetres, and the Waimea Plains around 50 millimetres. Due to the heavy rain and high winds, a section of the Dun Mountain Trail had to be closed. Council engineers and contractors are now assessing the damage and considering options to repair the track. Councillor Eric Davey says Nelson network of mountain bike trails and walking tracks is of a very high standard and its maintenance is important. Safety is the primary concern. The Nelson Provincial Museum is a place where all the family can go and learn something new. Currently, their newest natural history exhibition, A Pandemonium of Parrots, is now open in their education room upstairs. But also, for those of us who share the history of having a member of their family serve in the First World War, the ongoing tales of the local men and women are available for viewing in the World War I Their Stories, Our History exhibition. We caught up with museum CEO Peter Millward to find out more about the 100 Years Commemoration exhibition.
We're at the Nelson Provincial Museum, and this is Peter Millward. We're going to talk about the World War I exhibition. Can you tell us how the exhibition is going and what kind of visitors you're receiving?
Well, at the moment, I guess the way you judge whether the exhibition is working, in the main community hall, there are 2,600 names, and over 620 of those names have now been remembered by family, and that's a wonderful response. We're looking at 1914, so it's mostly about the soldiers training and after they've enlisted and then going away first to Egypt. And then in 1915, of course, first they have a battle along the Suez Canal against the Turks, and then when they repelled the Turks from the canal, then Britain decided that they were going to invade the Dardanelles, and that's what our story will be about when we open on Anzac Day. It'll be about Gallipoli.
All right. And what would you say is your most important piece?
I think the most significant thing is that the whole of the exhibition is about real Nelson people and their real stories. Now, what's not immediately evident in the hall at the moment is that 1 in 4 of the men who went away died. And so at the moment we've only had 2 Nelson men die. That is going to get dramatically, sadly worse once the invasion of Gallipoli starts to be commemorated.
And do you think you can still see the impact of the war here in New Zealand today?
Yeah, absolutely. You only have to look at the couples or the elderly people who come into the hall and they see their father's name or their uncle's name on the wall, and when we put a poppy beside their name, tears are quite common.
How long is the exhibition running exactly? Because now we have the commemoration.
Well, we're producing the exhibition over our intention is to do it over a 4-year period. So we will commemorate particular events and soldiers' deaths on the centenary of when they occurred. So we're not talking about Gallipoli at the moment, because at the moment they're still fighting along the Suez Canal. Come April of 1915, that's when the troops moved to Gallipoli. That's when we'll start telling the story about Gallipoli.
The Tasman District Council are looking for a new naming sponsor for the Aquatic Centre in Richmond. Costs of running the complex are subsidised by TDC ratepayers, and now if ASB or another sponsor is not prepared to take the reins, Tasman ratepayers could be asked to pay more, as might the pool and gym users. So we asked people their thoughts on funding the centre.
The Aquatic Centre operating costs are around $360,000 per year, and there is still a mortgage of $3.5 million to pay. Who should pay for it?
Well, but I guess a lot of people use it. It's a very useful thing. So I mean, I wouldn't mind if it came down to it. Yeah, because it is a well used item. But perhaps the council should sell some forestry land.
It's got to be paid by all of us. It's important to all of us. We've all got to pay for it, haven't we?
Well, I don't believe the ratepayer should pay quite at all. I think there should be a contribution, but nothing more than that, and the rest over to the local authority.
I don't know if I can actually answer that, because I actually go there all the time. So we all pay as individuals as well for each classes or as memberships. So
no, they should have it set aside in their budget though for recreation things for the community. I mean, it's valuable. You can't not have it. So we need to have it.
It's just like paying for Auckland's roads and that, isn't it? We all pay for it because of the taxes. So it being local, I think we should all pay for it.
I think it probably should be part of the council rates, and it really is good. I mean, it contains a lot of different stuff for a lot of different age groups and kinds of people, so I reckon it's well worthwhile.
Okay.
Some food banks are having trouble with people double dipping, which has led to supply shortages. It is unfortunate that a small number of people are taking advantage of this volunteer safety net. We sent Leonard along to ask if Nelson Food Bank has the same problem and how are they coping at this time.
Today we're talking to Mike Gibson of the Nelson Food Bank. Have you had any people trying to take advantage of the system by trying to get more than their fair share?
Yes, there's always somebody that tries to get something, but we have a list of people, and if they exceed their entitlements, well, we know who they are. But on the other hand, if somebody wants to pull the strings a bit just to get a few extra tins of spaghetti and that, well, they're welcome to it.
Okay, and have you seen an increase in the families coming here lately?
Yes, there's been a big increase in family numbers. It's becoming quite common to have at least four children in the family, 4 up to 6. So when we supply a food parcel for that number of people, for 8 people, it's a lot of food that goes out of here.
And how do you think the winter affects the demand for food here?
Well, the winter wasn't, going back to last winter, wasn't as bad as what a lot of people would have anticipated. November was our worst month last year, and just last week was probably the worst week I've seen in 5 years. So it's got nothing to do with the winter.
What do you think is driving people to come here? Is it the high prices of food in supermarkets?
Well, I'm not sure that the food is altogether that dear. You know, if you follow around the specials like I do, I treat this as a business and try to shop for the best buys, and you know, there is good cheap food out there. But I don't know why we got a peak like we did last week.
So, but you're actually a business that tries to get as least customers as possible.
Yeah, yes, we're a funny business. We want as much funds and help as we can get, but we don't want any clients. Yes, that's a fact. That's a bit strange, really.
So where do you get your food from typically?
Well, it's being donated from several sources. There's groups around the town that have in-house collections. We have donation bins at Fresh Choice and New World supermarkets, and I pick up quite a quantity of good produce from them every week. But the majority of it, it's last Saturday we would have spent nearly $400 at Countdown, so we've still got to buy. Yeah.
You don't receive anything directly from the supermarkets?
Oh, I think they put some items into the donation bins that is, you know, up to its best buy date and best use date rather, and yeah, we do get some surpluses. Yeah.
And do you work together with any other charities like the Salvation Army, for example?
Well, people get a bit mixed up. I deliver a food parcel and they say, "Oh, you're from the Salvation Army." Well, we're not. The food bank is a different identity in itself. We supply the food parcels that the Salvation Army clients have requested, and not only the Salvation Army, St Vincent de Paul, Budget Advice, Family Start, Decoraway Trust, and Butte over here in the car park. Yeah, they're all agency of the food bank. And they send their requests to us and we pack the parcels, and we find the funds, buy the produce, pack the parcels and deliver them.
And do you feel that you receive enough recognition for your hard work?
Went to the Salvation Army and said I'm starting to find a tendency amongst some of the clients to take us for granted, that they that it's whether it's an obligation or it's a right to a food parcel. Well, it's not. It comes from charity, and there's a few that they may be. I don't think they're taking us for advantage, but they're not showing the appreciation that we used to get. The AGM of the committee that runs the food bank is in May. And they're very much in need of a suitable person to take over the fundraising for the food bank.
So that's food for thought. Thank you very much.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.